sharing that. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic now. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has accused Western countries today of trying to block peace negotiations to end the Ukraine war after a flurry of diplomatic activity appeared to stall. They're just looking for a pretext to block negotiations, Lavrov has said in an interview with state TV station Rossiya aired on today on Telegram, also criticizing Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for obstinately setting conditions demanding an immediate meeting at all costs with Russian counterpart President Vladimir Putin. Now for this discussion, we go back to Ruben Johnson. He's a director at Asia Research Center at the Kazimir Pulaski Foundation. Thank you, Ruben, for staying with us. Now how should we interpret Sergei Lavrov's claim that Western nations are obstructing peace talks in Ukraine?
I want to quote some European diplomat who wasn't identified, but earlier this week, Lavrov was making these statements, and he said, literally, he said, we should stop paying attention to Lavrov. It's just noise. He never fails to state the opposite of the truth with greater precision. Always with greater and greater precision. There have been plenty of chances for Russia to assume negotiations. The Russians are always the ones that when the Ukrainians and the Russians get together in Turkey, they usually break things off very quickly. They're the ones that are refusing to discuss a ceasefire. They are the ones which continue to hit civilian targets, killing civilians. I just think it's ludicrous. I don't even listen to Lavrov anymore. I'm sorry. He doesn't care about what he's saying. The only thing he cares about is the transcript, which is sent back to Moscow of his remarks so that people can make sure he's towing the party line.
And do you think this is Lavrov's statements? Do you think this is a strategic narrative to shift blame, or does it reflect genuine diplomatic deadlock, or like you've said, that he just cares about what's sent back to Moscow?
He only cares about what's sent back to Moscow, but there's no deadlock. The only deadlock is that Vladimir Putin does not want this war to end. If this war ends, then his regime is over. That's all he's got left. He's destroyed his country. He's destroyed its economy. He's taking a demographic imbalance that the country already had, and he's made it 100 times worse. There's nothing of all of the vestiges of the Soviet Union that were left in Russia after the Soviet Union fell that could have been turned into something productive. All of that's been asset stripped and destroyed by Putin and his cronies. So this war is the only justification that he has for continuing the rule of the country by him and his other fellow former KGB acolytes and whatnot. This is all he has. If the war stops, Putin stops. So there's the deadlock. Until that changes, until the situation in Russia becomes so dire, the economy becomes so close to collapsing, until they run out of money, and until Putin is blocked from selling oil anywhere, including India, this war will go on.
And Ruben, building on your answer, you mentioned that you have great connections inside of Ukraine. How popular is President Zelensky still?
Well, his popularity is always talked about by certain pollsters as being very, very low. People have problems with him. They have criticisms of him, but they certainly support the government in a time of war. They certainly support continuing the war. They're not ready to have a revolt and remove him. If there is an election for president held once the war is over, he could be voted out. But no one today is suggesting that he has to resign or leave office.
Thank you, Ruben, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic now. The front lines remains active amidst the talks of peace negotiations